Said 90 degrees a moment ago, so I'm just going to start off with that. You know, we haven't done any real heat here since the last day of May. It's easy to forget this as you go through the summer. May 31st, we were doing 100 degrees for inland valleys. On June 1st, that dropped into the 70s, and then we never had to go back. And while you've probably already seen the first 90-degree day on here, it's towards the end. Take a look back here towards Wednesday. By the time we get there, we are already just a little over halfway through the month of June. Think about that for a second. We will have gone the first half of what is like the first month of summer, really. We start meteorological summer. It's a technical thing, actually, and that starts on June 1st. So we've kind of gotten off real easy. And even at that, we're talking about 90, and we're not staying there long either. So we'll have a bit of a jump here. You can see it really kind of begins on Tuesday. And then Wednesday we top out, and then the trend wants to bring us back down again. We may not be stuck there that long. So this is turning out to be a pretty nice June around here. We'll come back to this again in a second. I just wanted you to see that as the headline. I think what we need to do is get you ready for tomorrow. And of course, there is a weekend happening before we have to start thinking about any of that heat. So let's get into the forecast from that standpoint. This is right now high-resolution satellite. A little bit of the marine layer is hanging out here. We've been watching the time lapse today from Nob Hill. That's the top of the Mark Hopkins Hotel. Watch the clouds disappear once we get to like the early afternoon. It has been a nice run of sunshine. Finally for the city, you got 2 days. I think you're going to do that again tomorrow in the city. I think you will get sun by late morning. In fact, let me show you why I would say that. Let's come back down and take a look at the virtual map. And I'm going to overlay the live satellite with how the fog's going to progress onshore over the course of tonight. A couple of things about this. It's not going to be terribly widespread tomorrow morning when we wake up. We're definitely going to see the fog stream in through the heart of the bay, definitely down the East Bay shore. But I think tomorrow morning, if you get much in the way of clouds to start your day in San Jose, it won't be a lot. And so you're going to get a head start. More sunshine early, be a couple of degrees warmer, but not noticeably warmer. You just have a sunnier start. Same thing in the North Bay. You did this today. I don't think you're really going to have a whole lot in the way of the gray up there. But let's see how this is going to melt back now. And when we do that, we'll take the progression from like 8 in the morning, and we're going to let this melt all the way back to about 2 o'clock. I'm going to get out of the way as we fly up the peninsula, come into San Francisco. And let's spin that around so we get the angle where we can see just how far off the coast that stuff is. It's going to be barely hanging out tomorrow, just like it did today. In other words, clouds will melt back, and the entire east half of the city is going to be in the sun, and I think you're really only going to be socked in again tomorrow out at the beaches. It's pretty nice, considering where you were for like the 3 days previous to yesterday, where you really never did get a whole lot of sunshine. Let's put some numbers on this. How does it feel in light of all that? Not going to change much. Your daytime highs are almost identical. Maybe you noticed that already when we looked at the 7-day initially, but let's get everybody on for tomorrow, and then I'll give you the 7-day for the two kind of primary microclimates. Not a whole lot change there, so we'll say goodbye to the highs. Let's remove and get straight into the 7-day forecast here, because we'll look at the inland microclimate again first, just for a review on that, and then I'll show you the numbers for the bay, which are going to follow a similar pattern. So there's your inland. We've seen it. And we get a nice little drop after that. And now let's take a look at the bay. And the story with the bay is you might have to warm up into the mid-70s in general, but that warm-up that's coming by early next week will be one of those situations where it's a much more notable warm-up inland. May not notice a whole lot of difference in the bay as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have much more on that as we get closer to it. For now, and back to you.